fertilizers has quadrupled, with the request coming directly from Prime Minister Narendra Modi. Speaking during a meeting with the Russian Association of Fertilizer Producers, Putin highlighted the surge of exports to India, even as Europe imposes fresh trade restrictions. Calling the European Union's decision to reject Russian mineral fertilizers complete stupidity economically, Putin warned it could further spike food prices across the continent. India, however, has put its agricultural interests first, as Brussels' new sanctions took effect on July the 1st. New Delhi continued trade with Moscow. According to reports by RBK, citing industry experts, Indian importers made significant purchases ahead of the EU deadline, ensuring steady supply at competitive prices. The shift comes amid a tightening global market, with China now restricting its own fertilizer exports. The result, global prices for key fertilizers like urea rose sharply in early July. With Europe attempting to isolate Russia economically, India's continued engagement highlights its prioritization of food security and affordable farming inputs, especially as global inflation remains volatile. We're now joined by Shruti Dasgupta, who's an international affairs expert, to discuss this further. She joins us live from New Delhi. Thank you very much for joining us, Shruti. Shruti, is there a possibility here that India's trade relationship with Moscow might affect it economically, especially, we have just covered this, but especially as this 50-day, as we count down this 50-day ultimatum made by the US president? What are your thoughts in India still maintaining a good trading relationship with Moscow despite the ongoing war in Ukraine?
Greetings, Thomas. Thank you for inviting me.
Of course.
I understand that India holds the right to its strategic autonomy. We make decisions not based on where the crowd is flowing. We are making decisions with what is best for our people. We are 1.4 billion strong, the fourth largest economy, rushing towards becoming the third largest one in the world. And we cannot afford for other powers to decide where we buy, what we buy, and who we buy it from. While it is very nice of Europe to think that India should support its problems, they don't really come to our rescue when we are in need. As you've mentioned before, the traders have rushed in to finalize their deals, and that has increased the exports to almost fourfold. And this was, I think, PM Modi was directly involved in ensuring things go well. In response to this, some of the companies have asked India to drop the 5% tariff that impacts the Russian importers, so that the flow of fertilizers continues to grow and continues to be steady, and there is no dearth of something which affects the Indian food economy as such. So food security is important to India, energy security is important to India, and in those two cases we will not listen to what is best for Europe, we will listen to what is best for India and its 1.4 billion people.
Yes, Shruti, but to what extent do you think India's actions undermine the effectiveness of EU sanctions on Russia, and what precedents does this set for other global South countries?
Well, it tells, first it tells Europe that you need to first consider the stakeholders in this entire sanctions. You place sanctions, you've got other resources to turn to, or even the money or economy to run to. Even if you're going into decline in terms of your GDP, you still have reserves with which you can play around with. A country like India, with its population and its manufacturing demand and the number of mouths it needs to feed, we cannot afford to bow to your particular pressures. This is something that India is showing to the rest of the global South, that in case you want, you can resist. At most, those tariffs will come into play, but then ultimately the payers of the tariffs are the people who actually buy stuff from India and the global South. We are more of an exporter to them than they are to us. So it is going to, the tariff is going to work both ways. It may make things expensive for us, but it will definitely create security issues in European nations itself. They need to think about whether they're protecting the stakeholders in these tariff games. If they do, then people will comply with their sanctions. If they don't, then like India, many other nations will flout these sanctions.
Yes, Shruti, you say that India has to protect its interests. However, does India risk its interests being trading with Russia so openly, especially in regard to these retaliatory tariffs that Donald Trump plans to put on Moscow's top trading partners once this 50-day ultimatum is up?
So right now we have a 50-day grace period. So we might just end up signing a whole lot more deals to ensure that at least the next 1 year or at least 2 are going smooth. Those tariffs will come into play later. So we are hoping beyond that there will be probably diplomatic black channels happening that may put an end to the war, put peace on the table for Europe, and India might not have to face those questions ultimately. So it's a gamble that we're taking. But the gamble happens to play into our hand. We hold the cards right now. We want something. Russia supplies it. China has chokehold. It used to supply about close to 90%. It's not directly banned export to India. What it is doing is it stopped inspections of the goods that were supposed to be exported to India. So they are lying there on the ports without actually reaching the shores of India. So there is a larger question that the Europe needs to answer to that. What do you expect India to do? Do you expect Indian farmers to stop farming? Or do you expect 1.4 billion mouths to go hungry just because you want to put an end to war that is happening in Europe? So it's something that Europe also needs to consider. It is a risk, but we are hoping to take it, and we are hoping the gamble pays off.